joined right now by one parent, Lizette Rosenblatt, a mother whose daughter was thankfully able to escape from the school unharmed. Lizette, first of all,
today, something we never thought we'd experience.
What up? Welcome to episode 75 of my premium podcast experience, the Verdict Podcast. I'm your host, Splash Jordan. Joining me today, who do we got?
Mosca Flux, aka Flitty Gang.
Don't let me get emotional. Feeling like a queen amongst queens all in my circle. Feeling like a takeover soon, about to burst through. Feeling like got the vibe that it's supposed to. Yeah.
Who else we got? That was pretty amped up. So don't drop the ball with the energy.
Oh, it's Millie Rule. Whoa, niggas know what it is.
Thank you, Mosca Flux, for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
No Noinek this episode. She pulled a half day.
How dare she? How dare she? I expected to see her today.
Right. So I don't know. But you know how when it's a Friday, you just got paid, you go to work, you're like, oh man, I'm not feeling good. But you got your club outfit in the car.
Yeah.
I feel like she was pulling something.
She pulled that. It's not even Friday. It's like Friday Junior. It's Thursday, bruh.
Well, I mean,
she turning up early.
Right.
It's
So
all good. Do your thing, mommy.
First update I want to make, right, is our live show update. We have changed the date of the live show. So we're having a live podcast. It's our second one. It's more of a variety show. There's musicians, comedians, magicians, dancers, and the like. Yeah, so the date of that's going to be October the 18th. So October 18th. So we're moving the date to October the 18th instead of September 16th, what it was, right? Based off of, a couple of things that had transpired. I think that the trader had caught wind that we were looking for him. And so, we got to do a couple of things differently, right? So a sight to see, take two, Trader Among Us. The date has been moved to October the 18th instead of September 16th, right? The only other announcement I got to make, I'm giving away some Chris Brown tickets, also giving away some Tyler, the Creator tickets. Got to come to my bingo shows. I host music bingo.
Stop playing.
Yeah, so you got to come to my music bingo.
I need to win some bread. Bingo.
Yeah, bingo. I do cash drawings. I do concert giveaways, gift cards.
Stop playing, Jordan. I'm with it.
Yeah, so you can go to my Instagram, or you can go to Bingo's Instagram at Bingo and Chill on Instagram. You can see a list of the shows there. See what places are giving away tickets and how that looks, right? Did y'all have any announcements? Anything going on that you want to shout out real quick?
Spanish Girl video that you met me at. That is dropping really, really soon.
Okay.
We're still in the editing process. A lot of people have been asking about it, so I need to announce that the Spanish Girl video is not just any regular video. Okay?
Right.
I directed it, so it's going to be cinematic as hell. So it's taking a little more time. So I'm hoping maybe the end of next week we should have it.
Okay. Is that your directorial debut as far as music videos go?
No.
Okay, so not the
first.
All right, dope. Yeah. So
but one of many to come.
Okay, word. That's what's up. Yeah, I was there. The Verdict was there.
Yes, y'all were in the building. Thank you so much for coming out.
Oh yeah, thanks for having us. Do you know who Jared is? Do you know a guy named Jared? No. When we were there, when I got there, somebody approached me and was like, "Jared needs $20." And we didn't know what that meant. I was just like, "What's?" I don't know what that means. Yeah, I was like, "What?" I was like,
"Who's Jared?"
Yeah, and then I don't know. I just assumed that he had been drinking. And or he mistook my identity. He thought I was somebody else.
Yeah, he'd been drinking.
Right.
Everybody had been drinking.
Right. So that's what
it was hot.
Right. So I just was like, okay, he's been drinking. I'm not Jared. I don't know Jared. So I'm just gonna go over here, and we left it at that. Real quick before we get into the things I wanted to discuss with you. Right. Caught my attention first was that NC drug laws have been adjusted to allow, the conviction of the dealer. They're going to basically in North Carolina now, they want to charge the dealer, person who looks like us. They want to charge that person if someone overdoses on opioids.
No, that's not your responsibility, though.
I mean, it is what it is.
Right.
It's their problem, so now it's our problem.
Right.
But Death by Distribution Act, it was signed, I think it was signed Monday by Governor Roy Cooper.
Right.
And it just allows the prosecutors to charge dealers with Class B felonies, which carry a penalty up to like 40 years, I think it is.
Up to 40 years.
Yeah, up to 40 years. And that's to say, if I sell you something and you OD, I can go to jail for that.
Right.
But it also has people scared, like, let's say I'm prescribed the medication you the homie, you like, yo, let me get it, and I give it to you.
You OD.
You
can go jail.
It's on me.
But what it doesn't do, guess who is protected? The guy in the lab coat who's writing off these prescriptions. You know, that person, you know, there's a good Samaritan clause that protects that person because they're just doing their job, prescribing you synthetic heroin, you know, for every, you know, bump and bruise. So that's something that's kind of got like North Carolina specifically kind of like, you know, panties in a bunch because it's like, you know, there are people who feel very strongly just about opioids, you know, mostly because, you know, it is something that more white people deal with. You know, there's a lot of white people dropping dead from opioids. I mean, I don't know a lot of people who look like me who like to pop pills like that.
Right.
But I do know a lot of people who look like me who like to sell pills. Right. So it's, you know, it seems very targeted.
It is targeted because they're like, we know who it's coming from. It's coming from the black man. Nah, get out of here because before it hit your hands, it came from somewhere else.
Right.
And we know what he looked like.
Exactly.
That's what has them scared, like friends and family wise. Like, oh, this law that we passed, granted, it targets them, but it could hit us.
It could. I don't think that there'll be any, you know, because, I mean, people who pop pills, like, they gotta have their pills. So I don't know that it's going to make any changes or it's going to make any differences, but that's, you know, something that occurred. You know, I don't deal with pills like that. You know, I'll take an Adderall every now and then, but, you know, obviously they do want to do something about how many people.
They want to stop the dealing,
right.
which is understandable. You want to stop the dealing, you know what I mean? But still, as a adult, like, it'd be different, like, let's say you sold to an underage minor that wasn't conscious of what they were doing. Then maybe you should be held responsible because you knew better than to be selling to a child. But you a grown adult. Whatever you popping, you know your limit. You know what I'm saying?
Well, no, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people don't know their limit.
True, but you know you pushing the limits. If the roof is spinning, if the ceiling is spinning, you need to sit down. You don't need to pop nothing else.
Sometimes that's how you got to gauge if it's working or not. Like, depending on what you're taking, if the roof ain't spinning, and it's just like, oh man, that's some bullshit.
No, but we already know it's bullshit.
Why do you want to feel like that?
I mean, this may be pretty personal. Do you indulge in any type of substances that wouldn't be considered legal?
The only substance that I indulge in is now legal.
Okay. It's now legal in North Carolina?
Not in NC,
Okay, right.
But it's legal in Cali.
Right. So outside of that, have you ever experimented?
Yes, of course.
All right, so there you go. So if we're talking about like ecstasy or shrooms, like if I'm taking some shrooms, yeah, the room has to, like, let's spin a little bit, you know?
I don't want it to go beyond that. Like, if it's spinning, like, I'm going to sit the hell down.
Right. No, I mean, you don't want it to go too far beyond that. You're right.
Yeah,
so
it's to each his own, I guess.
Definitely to each his own. And, you know, I've got a different, you know, own for sure. So we can skip the, you know, we were going to talk about, well, no, Noinek was supposed to tell us about Spinrella suing Salt and Pepper. But basically, it sounds like, you know, it's money disputes, you know, standard stuff. But she was supposed to give us the details, right? We spoke about last week, there was a young lady in Texas who started an epidemic of sorts, like, you know, in a literal and in a metaphysical sense. So she started like a Bluebell ice cream challenge, basically. You know, the young woman in Texas started it. Did you see that video? She licked ice cream?
No.
You have not seen that video?
I've not seen that.
Oh, wow. So there's a video of a young woman. She's in Texas. She's in a Walmart, and somebody dares her to lick some ice cream. So she pops it open, she licks it, put it back, and they went on about their way. Bluebell was fucking pissed, and so they found her. You know, they work with authorities. They found her. They were going to charge her up to 20 years. Turns out she's a minor, so they're going to give her basically a slap on the wrist.
She got lucky.
Right. Because that's a very serious thing. Like, tampering with food is, like, you know, a huge no-no. And then, you know, a corporation basically is feeling like, okay, the people's trust in us is shaking. We're going to come at you extra hard. True. So what happened, though, since then, and I've only heard of what's happened since then, basically, is not a young man, it's an older guy in Louisiana, I believe he was. He continued, he took it a step further, stuck his finger in there, you know, basically was just very ignorant about it, you know. Have you seen that video? Yeah, so he was like, you know, extremely, like, over the top with it, like, you know, and of course they locked him up, and I'm pretty sure he's in jail now. But before he got here, Millie was telling me that there's also another person who,
I don't, like some Chinese lady or something. I mean, I don't know what she was, but She was nasty. That's what she was. She was nasty.
Why do you think that she was Chinese?
I mean, that's the way she looked in what I seen.
I was
you
gonna
know.
say, why did you think she was nasty? That was more important.
Yeah, I know. So he asked the perfect questions.
Jordan, you retarded.
Well, she's nasty because she's tampering with ice cream. That's nasty.
But they
It
got
was all ice cream? Because I seen a guy, he did it with some Arizona tea in the grocery store. He, like, spit in the tea.
That's disgusting.
Like a loogie. Like,
Oh, nah, this bitch here, she spit in it, she peed in it, she dug on her nose, stuck her fingers in it, and they got it on tape. And then she went to the bathroom, didn't wash her hands.
Right.
So I'm like, you got dirty hands and you peeing in my ice cream?
Right,
I'm totally
so-
disrespected.
Right. So the moral of the story is that when y'all go to the store, you need to make sure seals is not broken.
Right.
You know, your stuff isn't tampered. I don't buy Bluebell anyway. I don't buy a lot of ice cream, so you know I'm safe.
I shop at Aldi's.
Shoot. Well,
Everybody can see everything.
they definitely can. I mean, they can see them at these other places. Everybody's getting caught, which is why I don't know why they keep doing it. Everybody
But they're
who's
filming it, right? They're filming themselves doing it.
They are
and
doing that
sharing-
as well.
yeah,
It's
sharing
all
stuff.
for the attention.
for the
Facts.
attention.
I'm cool with going to
do it for
jail.
clout.
I got the attention. Like, I'll pop your head off. I'll be known as a shooter. I mean, I'm going to go to jail, but niggas in the streets going to talk about me like, yo, he was a shooter.
That's crazy.
What does that? I mean, how much money does that get you?
None.
No. I mean, but you got people out here doing stuff. They want to leave a mark. Like, yo, you know what?
It's the ignorance of this society and this generation that you have to make a name for yourself on social media. It's like it's a detachment from reality is what it seems like to me, because you'd kill someone all for the likes, all for the views, and then just F your life. You threw your life away. But you seen me on the news, or you seen me on Instagram, or you seen that video, like 5 minutes of fame. It's worth your entire life.
That's how some people, you know, I guess that's how some people are wired, especially this generation that's came up, you know,
ignorant.
inside on a tablet instead of, you know, outside.
Big facts, yeah, because I grew up outside climbing trees, okay?
Have either of you seen that show Euphoria?
I haven't.
Have you seen it?
Nah.
Okay, all right. I won't discuss it then. It's one of those shows. If you ever seen like Skins, or y'all seen Skins? No.
I don't even watch TV.
Oh, here we go
I
with
watched
that.
Stranger Things.
Okay, now Stranger Things is dope. I watch Stranger Things.
Okay.
Here we go to the don't watch TV. Yo. Okay then. So what we'll do is we'll take a short break, and then when we come back, we got a whole bunch of questions from Mosca Flux, who's here, and she's gonna tell us all about all the dope shit she got going on.
Hey everybody, I really do hope you love the Verdict podcast. Did you know that you can actually get paid just for listening to this podcast? I know it sounds insane, but it's true. We just discovered a free new app called Podcoin, and it literally pays you to listen to podcasts. Here's how it works. You listen to podcasts and you earn Podcoin while you listen. Then you turn the Podcoin in for your gift cards at places like Amazon or Starbucks. Okay, take two. Hold on. Hey everybody, I really do hope you love Hey everybody, I really do hope you love the Verdict podcast. Did you know that you can actually get paid just for listening to this podcast? I know, it sounds insane, but it's true. We just discovered this free new app called Podcoin, and it literally pays you to listen to podcasts. Here's how it works. You listen to podcasts and you earn Podcoin while you listen. Then you turn that Podcoin in for gift cards at places like Amazon or Starbucks. And you could even donate that Podcoin to charity. The more you listen, the more you earn. So here's what you do. Download the app right now on your iPhone or Android, and I'll have a special code for you. Simply use our code Verdict Podcast, and you'll get 300 Podcoin just for signing up. And if you listen to enough of us on here, you can get cappuccino at Starbucks or an Amazon gift card on us. So go ahead and go listen to the podcast or virtually any podcast on Podcoin and sign up with our code Verdict Podcast. I swear it'll change the way you listen to podcasts.
Flex with me. Straight out of the R, North Carolina's in the building, baby. Let's get these bars. See my flow is on a different level. I'm the hottest on the ground, I can kiss the devil. I bury rappers, go and get the shovel. I keep the burner in the clutch like I ain't hit the pedal. See, I got bangers for your head, but it ain't heavy metal. Yo quiero dinero, mi fuego make you settle and settle. Mi metal, I level any rapper from ghetto to ghetto. The bezel is yellow, try to reach and get stomped with stilettos.
Let's get into you a little bit, right? First of all, I was curious where that name even. How did you come across that name? How did you create that name, Mosca Flux? What is that?
It means fly in Spanish, literally. Like, it means fly. Like, like a fly on the wall.
Really?
Yeah, really. So what happened was I was spitting when I was a youngin', and of course life occurred. You know what I'm saying? I had kids in the whole nine or whatever, and so music life slowed down.
Right.
But I'm gonna say maybe back in like 2008, I came back to it. You know what I'm saying? I'm in the studio, started recording songs and stuff, but at this point, I ain't got no name. You know what I'm saying? So they asked me like, so how do you say fly in Spanish? And I was like, well, there's no real, fly is like slang in English. So there's no slang for that in Spanish. So the only literal word was Mosca. And that's where Mosca was born, just like that.
Really?
Flux became the last name after the fact. But Flux is more of a mathematical, scientific name. It's like, it means something flowing through a certain time and space, and I flow.
Okay. So there is some rhyme or reason behind it.
Absolutely.
A lot of people.
Got to be reason to my madness.
One thing I was curious about is how a person's family comes from Panama to North Carolina. Like, what has to happen to get from there to there?
It was a lot. You want me to get like all the way in there, or just the surface?
However you like to.
However I can explain this. All right, because we can go into some immigration laws and the whole nine, because it won't that easy. We flew over here.
Okay. How old were you at the time?
I was 4.
Okay.
I was 4. My mother, I think she was 28, and she literally had $50 in her pocket and a dream and a daughter. I have an older brother. He stayed behind with my father. So at the time, she came into the country with just me because, she only brought me because she didn't want them to think that we were going to stay. We were only on a visitor's visa, and we stayed. At the time, we left Panama because there was war in my country. If y'all know anything about Noriega and those times, and like 89, early 90s and stuff, when the U.S. Infiltrated Panama, and it was just war, it was massacre, it was crazy, because they was looking for him the same way they was looking for Osama bin Laden. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of innocent people died, so we fled. My uncle lived here in Charlotte, North Carolina, so that's why my mother came here.
Okay. Okay. Charlotte. You didn't spend any time in Charlotte, though?
I didn't, not until like later on in life, and it was very short-lived because I hated it. No disrespect to Charlotte. But no, when we actually came here, we stayed with one of my mother's college friends here in Raleigh, and it was very interesting because I didn't understand a lick of English, and now I totally rap in English. It's crazy. My first language was Spanish.
Okay, so you learned English after the fact.
After the fact, on Sesame Street.
Like you learned it from Sesame Street?
I swear to God, on Sesame Street, I sat there in front of the TV, and then my mom, she had to work because we got to survive, we got to eat, you know what I'm saying, and we staying in somebody else's house. Life was really, 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 really real for me growing up. So, she had to put me in school at the time. You can't go to kindergarten until you 5.
Right.
But she went and took me up there, and they had like a pre-K program or whatever, and she explained her situation. Like, she ain't had no money for childcare, after school care, none of that. And, pre-K is only like half the day to like 12 noon, and she needed me in there all day.
Right.
So they was like, well, we going to put her in here for this week. If she do good and she catch on, we'll put her in kindergarten. And my mom was like, yo, you got to do good. And that pressure was real for me, real young, because I had to learn. Like, it was survival. So I did do good. I sang my ABCs, y'all.
Nice.
And I went into kindergarten. My mom was able to work, but I very vividly remember teaching my mother how to speak English, because I learned the language a lot faster. Of course, you a child, you soak it in a lot faster. So I had to teach my mother how to read and write in English.
Okay. And so I watched that EPK.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
And I learned a lot.
Good. I'm glad. That's what it was meant for.
Right. Of interesting things. So the name Baby G, you went by that name prior to Mosca Flux.
Yes. That was the younger me. That was the wild me. Baby G actually was a name that my big brother gave me. My brother was in the gang back then. He was a Crip, so I was out there and trying to be grown in the streets and stuff like that. I was like one of the boys, and so he started calling me Baby G, which meant baby gangster.
Okay, baby gangster, like BG.
Yeah,
like BG. Okay, so and in that same documentary of sorts, infomercial, is that your friend said that you were a bit of a thug. So what type of activities, when they say that you were a bit of a thug, you got a nickname Baby Gangster, what's happening to that you have this reputation?
I'm gonna say I probably started wilding out. I was probably like 12 years old. I didn't have much supervision, so with that came a lot of freedom. So I ran the streets a lot. Of course, when you're poor, you probably live in a bad neighborhood, in which I did, and there was a lot of drugs, and my mom couldn't afford, all the nice clothes and stuff like that. I was wearing like Kmart shoes and Kmart clothes, like for real, and I wanted the other stuff the kids had. You know what I'm saying? So, there was older guys in the neighborhood, and they was hustling, and what better way to push drugs than through a child? Nobody suspecting them. They just on the corner playing. But nah, I was selling drugs. So yeah, that was that life. And
at what age is this?
I was 12.
12 years old.
12 all the way up until I think I was like 16 when I finally got my head together.
Got your head together. So what happened? What happened that made you get your head together?
I had enough.
Okay.
I was in and out of juvie for a whole 6 years straight. I got in trouble. I did a B&E larceny and stuff, and they tried to hit me with 15, 16 charges. It was ridiculous. They totally threw the book at me. I was a minor, and I think it got reduced down to 3 felonies and 2 misdemeanors at the time. So I got probation, and since it was my first offense, I think I got a year probation or something, but I didn't know how to act. So of course I just kept getting in trouble. If I skipped school, I get arrested. If I was out past my curfew, they put me on house arrest and all types of mess, then I go back to juvie. And every time you go back, it's a messed up system for juveniles. I'm gonna tell you that right now. It's worse than adults. You'd rather be in regular jail, okay? Only because the extension of my time was just ongoing. It wasn't when you're an adult, you mess up on your probation or your parole, and then you go back, you do your time, and then it's done. No, they can carry and linger this thing on forever as long as they want when you're a juvenile. It's ridiculous.
And I heard you say you watch Stranger Things. You have Netflix.
Absolutely.
So, have you seen a show on there? I think it's called Girl Incarcerated.
Yes, I did start watching that.
What? That
yes,
shit
off the chain.
Is crazy.
It's off the chain.
And yeah, as you're describing that, I'm thinking, because that's what they were going through. You just started watching it?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. I think it's 2 seasons? I finished the second season the other day.
Oh, okay. I'm not that far.
It is wild,
Yeah.
and being somebody who's been in jail, I'm like, man, my favorite part is seeing them leave.
Yeah.
Because I'm I'll bet that fucking feels amazing to finally be done with. And then it's constant all day.
Women are the worst.
So yeah, but yeah, so I have some knowledge. I wasn't, incarcerated as a child. So unfortunately I was skipped over that. But yeah, watching that show, they were saying the same thing. They're getting their time extended. They be doing things, but at the same time, it's still damn, I couldn't imagine, having to stay in jail longer because I got in an argument or because
you got in a fight.
Right. It's just man, it's annoying as fuck.
You
right?
catching a whole new charge because you got in a fight in there and you trying to defend yourself.
So now let's get to something interesting, right? So you said that you were in and out of jail, and I'm assuming that carried over until you being an adult. So
it did. Go ahead, finish. I'm sorry.
We're gonna pause so he can.
Where's my drink though, bruh? What's good, Millie? You over here getting cool? All right, that's the homie right there. Cheers for you. What is this? What am I drinking?
Room temperature and it's hot as hell.
Okay, as long as it's cold, because I don't even drink beer. But it's going down.
Here's some. If somebody wants one of these,
probably like that better.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can have that.
I got. Yeah. I'm sure that spilled over to you being an adult, right? So was that when you went to jail for the first time? Was that because of those drug charges, or because of that drug lifestyle?
Thank God, knock on wood, I never caught a drug charge in my life. You know what I'm saying? I actually got caught for some other stupid stuff, messing with the wrong people. It was B&E larcenies that I actually got in trouble for.
Okay.
And that was just I don't know. I was trying to help out some girlfriends, and I actually was crazy about me is that all the dirt I did by myself. Like nobody
You
knew.
got to.
Yeah, like nobody knew what I was doing. I was like breaking into houses in broad daylight by myself, and I'm like 12 and 13 years old, like because everybody's at work during the day.
Right.
That's what I figured as a kid, right? And so I took
would
stuff
hope.
to the older guys, and they pawned it, and I got money. Then my homegirls, like, they found out about me doing that, and like they wasn't down to sell drugs, but they was down to do the B&Es.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And then I like tried to do it with one girl, and it was like because we were doing it, we were stupid in a certain area consistently. You know, of course they start watching that area.
Right.
So then we went to do a house. We came out of there. We got locked up. That was that. And that's how I caught them charges when I was 12. Now, as like when I got to the age of 15. I was in Cabarrus County outside of Charlotte. This is why I sound like Charlotte. I was in the country, and I was out there, and I was trying to do the same thing again, trying to get some money real quick, and we got caught. And at this time, my rap sheet is so long as a juvenile that if I go back to juvenile court, you know, I'm going to go back for an extensive amount of years. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Until I'm, 18 plus and go into prison right after that.
Right.
You know, so they gave me two options. It was get hung here in this courtroom or let us bound you over and charge you as an adult, and it'll be your first offense as an adult in district court. And that was the hardest decision of my life, and I was 15. Because I knew that if I got bound over, that I would have to beat some greater odds as an adult. Like, I understood life already, you know what I'm saying? And I knew, like, to get a job and stuff like that, it's going to be hard if you got a criminal record, because I already had older friends that had the same struggle. So I was like, either I do that and I can go back to school, I can go back to high school, and I can graduate, and then I can try to beat these odds, or I can worry about, I can live without a criminal record, but half of my life I'm about to be locked up. And when I get out, I'm not going to have a criminal record because it's going to be it would still be under my juvenile and it's going to be sealed. But guess what? I lacked an education. I've lost time. You know what I'm saying? So I said, and what's crazy is that I went halfway through my trial. And when they started bringing in all the evidence, I told my lawyer, I was like, just stop it. I was like, I'm about to get hung. I was like, just let me sign it. I signed myself over. And I was like, I'll see y'all in district court. And I got, 3 years probation in district court. And I finished my probation after that. I was done. I'm so done with the system.
Okay, right.
And I had to pay them.
Yeah, you got to pay.
I had to pay them probation.
Pay.
I got to pay y'all to lock me up. I got to pay you restitution. This is what people don't know.
Yeah, you got to pay. You got to pay that 48 or 104 or whatever it is a month.
I had to pay restitution from the stuff I stole. Okay. I had to pay that back, and I had to pay my probation officer.
Right. Yeah, you got to pay someone to harass you.
Facts.
Like that
crazy.
That's college.
Nah, that's not college, bro.
Nah, bro.
College.
And I'm talking about I'm still a teen, so I'm in high school, and I got a PO coming to high school, checking on me, and then your teachers and administrators looking at you funny, treating you different. They try to get me expelled. It's like. I went to Cary High of all places, you know what I mean? And that's like very white central. So it was hard. It was hard getting that stigma off of me, you know what I'm saying? That I was a quote unquote troublemaker.
I know that they've passed new laws now. I think that they actually, your president passed them.
He's not my president, bro.
Oh, okay. He's not your president either.
Nah, because he don't like us. I'm Latina. Hold up.
Yeah, he really doesn't, though.
He hates us.
But he did pass a law, basically, that reduces the amount of time in between when you can expunge your record. And the amount of things
nice.
Right, and the amount of things you can expunge from your record.
It still costs over $10,000. Oh shit!
It reduced the price. It reduced the fees as well.
Oh, that's
nice. Like it really made it easy. Like especially for people like myself with like drug charges, it like makes it easy. That's what leads me to believe that North Carolina will, and a lot more states will legalize marijuana soon because they're making it so that we can seal these charges, expunge these charges. Which, in the eyes of many, now when I go, I already say no when they say, when I go to apply for a job and it's like, have you ever been to jail? Have you ever been arrested? Da, 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 da. No.
We lie.
You're right.
Yeah,
I always
facts.
say no. But now I could say no and, mean it technically. Like if you pull my record, you won't actually see these things.
Like, why isn't it that this automatically falls off like credit? You know what I mean? Like, let it be like 10, 15 years later. Like, this happened to me when I was 15 years old. I'm still answering for it as an adult.
Right, yeah. Now, that's crazy. They did, and that was one thing too. Like, I know, like, depending on what the charge is, you used to have to wait like 10 to 12 years. Now I think it's like 7 years now, and you can get like basically whatever, and you can expunge more, right? So
that's what's up. We progressing, I guess.
So you spend a lot of time in juvie. So what advice can you give somebody who finds himself in that position? You know, they're young, they're trying to make ends meet, they keep making mistakes, and they find themselves in juvie. What advice would you give that person who's trying to turn their life around and do big things like you?
Juvie or jail, like what I observed, I'm gonna say this, from people that I know personally growing up, was that once they got into that repetition of going to jail and then they get out, they started feeling like that's all that they could do, that they couldn't do more. And my greatest advice to everyone is that you can do more. You can change your life 360. It's not gonna happen overnight. It's not. It took me years to get to where I am, mentally and emotionally, you know what I'm saying, to grow, but you can, you know what I'm saying? And the first thing is to remove yourself out of that environment. That's key. Because if you continue to go back into the same environment, you're going to fall short. You're not going to be strong. People think that because they've been away for a little bit of time, they clean and they good and they strong in there, but you're strong in there because you haven't been around those temptations.
Right.
Then you come right back to them temptations, you're going to fall short because you haven't been tempted. So when you get out, you need to be somewhere off by yourself, getting yourself together. You know what I'm saying? Then when you come across those temptations, you will be stronger out here.
Right. And that be the thing too, like when I watch those shows and it does like an update and it's just like so-and-so went right back into their ways.
Yo, it happens all the time. I watched the spot where I was at, like, we call them cottages or whatever, but I watched them joints refilled 3 times. And a lot of those times that it refilled, it was the same girls coming back. You know, either they had, mothers on drugs and stuff like that. A lot of these girls, they would tell me straight up, they were like, this is the best home I've ever had. Like, because they feed me and they clothing me, and they young and stuff, and they don't want to get out here and do nothing crazy either. So they like, I'd rather just do something stupid and get locked up. That's the other thing that's happening to a lot of our young people, is that they're becoming accustomed to jail because it's comfortable, and then once they get back out here, it's too hard to survive because they haven't been out here. They should have transitional programs. Right. I'm sure they do. You know what I'm saying? But it ain't really no transitional program because I've been there and I've done it. All it is like a group home. They just stay there and they're like, oh, go get a job. But you're not assisting, you're not helping. A lot of these young women and brothers do not even know how to fill out a W-2. Right. Or an application or even how to create a freaking resume.
Right. Or, have job interviewing skills or coping skills.
Communication skills and all of that. Like, if I'm talking to you and then I'm talking to somebody else on the street or I'm talking to somebody in an office, guess what? We fluctuate in the lingo. You know what I mean? I'm going to talk to you a certain way versus how I'm going to talk to a real street a certain way, and then I'm going to talk to a professional person in an office a certain way. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of them don't have that.
Of course, right.
It's not being taught.
Okay.
Even for those that are free, it's not being taught.
Exactly. You're right. I was just going to say, like, that's not something you learn in high school, or taxes, or how to fill out, how to open a business, start a business, maintain a business. So
that's why we as adults, we got to teach our children. That's on us as minorities. You know what I'm saying? My girlfriend told me the other day, she's freaking 29 years old, and it baffled me because she said, yo, I went to college, and I'm just now finding out how important credit is. And that hurt because I was just like, yo, we not teaching our seeds. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's because we so busy trying to survive and pay the bills and a 9 to 5. There ain't nobody even worried about no credit. They're like, if the bill get paid, it get paid. If it don't, it don't. You know what I'm saying? But credit is everything. Right.
And there's a lot of programs for people of minorities that, they don't get used. And actually, that was going to be one of the topics, was that there was some individuals, I think they were in Alaska and Alabama, these 2 white men, who were indicted because they took all these grants and loans out claiming that they were minorities. What? Right. So, that's money that, that's
supposed to go to us.
Right. And it was like $300,000.
Get out of here. How come we not getting that?
Because we don't familiarize ourselves
don't
with
even know about
these
it.
programs that, are designed to help us buy houses, help us start businesses, like,
True.
you know what I'm
And
saying?
that's the thing is that we're not helping each other because some of us do know. Some of us have the knowledge, but a lot of people get to a certain level and they're like, what do I need to help you for?
Right.
You got to figure it out the way I figured it out.
Right.
I
Oh,
think you
that's-
just scared for that person to become greater than you. Like, you know
It's
what?
ignorant.
It is. It's very ignorant.
It's ignorant.
It's very ignorant. Welcome back. But
Yeah, Millie. Welcome back, Millie. Thank you.
Welcome
You
back.
still here breathing and alive.
Nah, I was taking a break, letting y'all, you know what I mean?
okay, I appreciate it. So let's talk about the music, right? Let's talk about the music. Well, first, Flitty Chronicles.
Yes.
What, can you explain for my listeners who are not familiar? Can you describe what the Flitty Chronicles are?
Yo, Flitty Chronicles is love every morning. Usually I try to do it first thing in the morning. It's whatever just sets on my spirit. It's good vibes. It's good advice. Sometimes it's really just me talking out loud to myself. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I decided that I should share that with the world because somebody else needs to hear it. And sometimes when I go through certain things in life and, I've overcome them and then the certain feeling that I got from it or whatever lesson I learned that day, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe I captured something from somebody else's life, you know what I'm saying? Then I want to put it online so people can hear it, So it's a message. Flitty Chronicles is just a straight message of encouragement and love.
Okay, that sounds about right. That was a very eloquent description, but
Why, thank you.
That's definitely a good description of what I would assume it to be, right? So
Have you watched Flitty Chronicles?
yeah, I follow you on
okay.
I
Okay,
follow you on the gram. They come on a little early for me. They
Still there all day long. Never take them down.
that's why I check them out, later on in the day, because I'm one of those people who the morning is too early for me to be inspired.
Okay.
I got to get inspired like midday, like after
Cool. I'm there for you midday, midnight, 2 a.m. Whenever you just hit the page, Mosca Flux.
Word, right? So, a couple of things I want to know about you as an artist, though, right? So, my day job is talking to artists, talking to gatekeepers, and so I'm involved with a lot of artists in the area, on the scene, especially in this area because that's where I live, but also in other areas, but mostly because I live there, like Charlotte or Virginia or Milwaukee. So one thing, like the debate, the universal debate that I've seen, no matter where I go, is it acceptable to use your background vocals when performing?
No.
Okay.
What you mean, bro? That's fake. You ain't performing live. You're karaokeing for me right now.
Right.
I don't know. That's a real MC answer.
Right.
And everybody ain't an MC. There's a difference between MCs and entertainers.
Well, I would say even entertainers still want you to see a good show. Like, I mean, performing over your vocals is something that I would not accept from, you at a certain level.
Facts.
But, an open mic, a showcase.
Maybe.
Song just got mixed. It's your first
True.
time.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
Even
maybe.
I've never done that, but maybe.
I just like to give I like to give people some room to grow.
Facts.
But if I see you next year, you're doing the same songs, background vocals, it's like,
I mean, some people get comfortable with it and they're like, hey, I'm still popping and nobody cares. But truthfully, your real friends is not being real with you. You know what I'm saying? Because they are talking about you.
Right.
And it's like you getting scored when you're on that stage. They're looking at your energy, your performance, your lyricism, and if you are live, you know what I'm saying? And if you're going over and a lot of times, the reason why a lot of people dislike rapping over the vocals is because we cannot hear you clearly.
We can't hear you clearly.
Right, and I'd rather have you live, and I'd rather hear you breathing, in the mic and huffing and puffing or struggling to get the words out than for me to be I can just hear the song over the speakers anytime.
But would y'all complain either way? Cause let's say I had a shitty day, I'm sick. And it's just like, instead of giving you a completely shitty show, because you already paid your money, so I'm in the clear regardless. But
if that's the case, then you make a small announcement at the beginning of your set, like, yo, I got a little cold, you know what I'm saying? So y'all just bear with me. I brought my little backup vocals to help me out a little bit.
So let's say it's more than a cold, though. Let's say it's something you don't want to share with the public just yet. So it's just like, because it's all appearant.
But
so
we
it's
gonna know.
What we're saying is that performing over your vocals is unprofessional.
Yes.
No, I'm not saying it's professional. I'm just saying, like, when you do it, it's just like, yo, look, under extreme circumstances, like,
you
look.
can do it under extreme circumstances, but when you do it at all of your
Yeah,
shows,
right.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying that.
It's like you going to go see Jay-Z and Beyonce,
Exactly.
and
I don't wanna see
she's
that.
lip singing.
Yeah, I don't want to see her
You're
lip
gonna have a
syncing.
problem with that,
Right, I don't want to see her lip syncing
And
or
though
over
we
vocals.
are, considered local artists, that doesn't mean you don't have to put your best foot forward,
Right,
and
always.
be on that professional level. You should practice on that level because when everything hits the fan, you know what I'm saying, you got to be ready. Right.
And it's interesting you segue into that. So, in that same EP, press kit that I saw, your manager said that, she discovered you or was first introduced to you at a showcase / open mic that she went to on a Humbug.
Yep.
So how
It wasn't an open mic; it was actually a show. But it was a show.
Okay. So then, that kind of changes things. Then, so do you? Well, it doesn't change things.
But I have done open mics. That's how I grew.
So, how important would you say open mics / showcases are?
Very, because there's a difference between like internet artists and then those that are on the ground and they're doing these showcases and stuff. Like I would still do open mic showcases. Granted, at this level, if someone asked me to do an open mic, I'm probably gonna be the headliner.
Of course,
not no boastful shit on some real, like I'm humble, you know what I'm saying. But because I've been out here grinding and I did all those open mics from the beginning, you know what I'm saying, even through my own shows too. Like by now, I do expect that a little bit, you know what I'm saying. But yeah, I still do free shows. I still do open mics because I still need to grow my fan base. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not international, I ain't nobody. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem is a lot of people get that local fame and they think they done made it.
Right.
Nah, your dream ain't big enough.
Right. That's interesting because you segued once again. You segued into my next question. So
I'm on point, Jordan. I'm with it. I'm hot.
So
Literally,
we're all hot.
I'm on fire.
But there's a light coming up at the end of the tunnel, right? So anyway, you've won a Carolina Music Award, right?
Yeah, I sure did.
How important was that to you to win that award?
At that time, it was very important. When I was, I think I was still starting out. I got nominated the first year for Best New Hip Hop Artist. And then the second year when I got nominated, it was for Best Female Hip Hop Artist. So I moved up in the category. Mm-hmm. But it is recognition and notoriety in your city and in your area. You know what I'm saying? Now, where I am, it's not as important.
Okay.
Like, only because I came, I saw, I conquered.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But I got a couple of trophies at the crib. You know what I'm saying? But none of them gave me money. None of them gave me a record deal.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They just shiny on the wall.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's nice to say.
Right.
But it ain't where I want to be. And that's just me personally because, I don't know, some people say I ain't never content. You know what I mean? But that's just my drive, and that's what keeps me hungry.
Right. Now, what about people who say, like, especially with that particular award show, that that there's
you gonna go there, Jordan, go.
That there's politics involved, and that
it is. That's why Flitty ain't even get nominated this year.
That's where I was going.
That's crazy.
And
it's bananas, but it's okay.
Right, because there were some names that were not as active.
You ain't never seen before. You don't even know them.
So, and that right. Not that
ain't no diss because I really don't know who all nominated on Surreal.
Right, I don't either. But and a few people I do, but a few of them I don't. But I just thought, how do you deal with that? Where do you ever feel like, especially in this area, because there is, especially a lot of the artists in this area feel like there's a inner circle.
There is.
There is, okay.
There is.
And
it
there
very
is.
much is in the underground and inner circle, and I used to be in that inner circle. I'm not in that inner circle no more. And how do I feel? To answer that question, I don't care.
Okay.
Because Flitty popped up in Miami, and Flitty popped up at SOBs in New York, and that's a legendary ass spot where
right.
like Jay-Z's and J. Cole's and
Yep.
Cardi B's touch
Yep.
that same mic and that same stage.
Yep.
So I'm still doing okay as far as I'm concerned. I feel like it pushed me out. It didn't keep me in. That everything happens for a reason. You're
right about that. That's a great way to look at it, because a lot of those people in the inner circle, some would argue that they're peaking, or that they don't have much going outside of this localized fame.
Right. And it's unfortunate. I mean, you stay popping and stuff like that, and yes, you know what I'm saying, like it helps create your buzz, but no one that's in that inner circle should just stay there. Right. You should absolutely grow outside of your city and outside of your state, and that's where I am now, is wanting to take my music outside, because a lot of times you pop somewhere else first before you even pop at home.
Right. That's most of the time, because everybody at home looks at you like that person that they went to school with,
Facts.
That person that they smoke weed with,
whatever.
That person that they work.
I know you ain't nobody.
Exactly.
But when they see you in another city and in the state, they're like, wow, you know what I'm saying? And the problem is that a lot of times when I remember this when I came out like here, when I started like really pushing my music and stuff back in 2013. I was like the hottest thing, you know what I'm saying? Everybody loved me in my city and everything like that. But that feeling like of being new and everybody messing with you, you know what I'm saying? Like it died out as I grew, as I got greater. It was like, oh shit, she's really a problem now. You know what I'm saying? So now it's like, we not gonna support her as much. And then they jump on the new bandwagon. It's kind of like they did Nicki and Cardi. You know what I'm saying? Nicki was that chick, and then Cardi came along, and then all of a sudden it's all Cardi F Nicki. It ain't gotta be like that. You know what I'm saying? We can support everyone, and that's the problem what we got going on in our city, which is why we don't pop like Atlanta or New York or Cali, because we don't work together. Period.
Right. Very, very cliquish. So
yeah.
Let's talk about now Spanish Girl. Mm-hmm. That's your new single. Mm-hmm. Okay, and you just shot the video for that. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that. How did that record come out?
Okay, so actually, Mills, you know what I'm saying? I'm actually a feature on that track.
Okay.
So, Mills hit me up. I've never done any work with 9 Mills. Shout out to the homie. But he's a problem too. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people in the city sleeping on my boy. But he sent me this track, and I like people that are serious about their music. Because when you send me something, he already had his verse laid. He's like, yo, I hear you on this. You know what I'm saying? He had the verse ready, the hook, everything. He sent it to me. I thought it was fire. So I was like, I got you. And like the very next week, I went to the studio. I laid my verse. Bam. Here we are in the summer. We planned for us to push it in the summer. And that's what it's going to be. At
what point did y'all decide, like, okay, we're going to shoot a video? Was all that the same conversation? Like, we're going to do a video? We're going to do...
Honestly, like, because the song was so fire from the jump, we just had that feeling. You know what I'm saying? As artists, when you know something is a hit, you're like, yo, I'm going to invest in this. You know what I'm saying? This is a banger. This is a summer banger. This is heat right here. And so he was like, yo, I definitely want to do a video for this. And I was like, let's go.
Okay. All right. And you know, it's definitely got that summer vibe to it. I'm rocking with it for sure. So it's definitely got that summer vibe to it.
That Latino heat though.
Right.
Okay. Because it's hot in here.
It's very hot. So outside of that, so I know that you're pushing that single, the video, and I think I saw, the video was doing well. No, you haven't put the video. What's the video you just put out
this morning?
No, the most recent music video you had.
You talking about Bitch?
Yes. Okay.
Bitch was deep.
Right. So
Bitch was deep. Who you calling a bitch? Yeah, that was. I was big angry on that track.
There was a lot of aggression came through,
and I directed that, by the way.
And I like the cuts. At the beginning, the Ice Cube, the Queen Latifah, all of that.
Yes.
It was very well done. Yeah, it was very well done.
Guess what? I did that intro.
That's dope.
I made that whole little DJ scratch and everything. Flitty do a little bit of everything.
Okay, you got to, you have to, because otherwise, paying everybody else to do it, you won't have no money.
Big facts.
Okay, so after Spanish Girl, what do you have planned next?
Ooh, I got this really dope track with my boy X, Xavier. Shout out to him. We've got a track called Off With His Head. And it's going to be off his album called Alice Part 3. And this joint is just bananas. Like, it's just crazy all the way through.
Xavier. I think that
he was there at the pool party.
And I think that he and I are friends on Facebook.
Really?
And he posted this wild...
My boy wild.
Yeah, he wild. He posted this wild status about how somebody tried to play him on some performance in Charlotte.
I didn't see that.
Okay, yeah. And then I then, after I saw that, I looked through his page and I saw that he was posting at one point random diss songs. to artists, and I was like, okay, now this
Yo,
I can
he
fuck
off the
with. This I
chain.
can
He off the
fuck
chain.
with.
And this right here, like, I'm gonna say, like, my boy X is like me. He's not in the inner circle. You know what I'm saying? So we're like, well, they be like, we're Martians. You know what I'm saying? We aliens. We outside the clique. You know what I mean? So that's why we rock. And so, like, this song right here, Off With His Head, is like, it's almost like a parody. Like, you know how you do a parody spoof on, like, the auto-tune and stuff like that? We're talking about stuff like that in this track, you know what I'm saying? And how mumble rap and all of that is winning. And like, you know, you could just start mumble rapping today and pop.
You can.
Versus somebody that's been MCing for years and still be trying to pop. So that's really, you know, the concept behind that track. It's going to be crazy. But there's a mixtape coming, though.
You have a mixtape coming.
Yes. It's called Spanish Fly, Volume 1.
Fly, Volume 1. Do you
So
have a release
there's
date?
a Volume 2. No, this is going to be the mixtape that's going to drop.
Right now, do you have a release date for the mixtape?
I don't have a release date.
You're just going to put it out?
I'm just going to put it out.
Now
I'm just going to give it to y'all.
Now
I can't tell y'all when.
Okay.
It's going to be a surprise.
And it sounded like you were alluding to that there was like more coming even after that.
It is. There's going to be a Volume 2.
A Volume 2. So
Yeah.
it sounds
I've
like
been
you're ready.
collecting work.
Okay.
I just been sitting there just collecting work. So while they thinking that Flitty like quit or Flitty sleeping or Flitty ain't working, I'm like, y'all see the pictures of me in the booth? Y'all see the pictures of me in the studio? Y'all hear the little clips and the hints and stuff? Like, why y'all sleeping? So it's okay. I'm gonna put out these little features and these little videos first, or whatever, and then I'm gonna give them that work.
All right. Okay. So typically when I have people come through, this is a question I ask them and it stumps them.
Okay, try me,
So-
try me, Jordan. What's good?
What's one misconception that people have about you? Or what's one thing that, you know, you feel like you want people to know about you that they probably don't?
People think I'm freaking stuck up.
Do they?
Yes. Like, just at a glance. Like, if they see me in public, you know what I'm saying? Like, they think that I might be, like, snobby or stuck up. I think that is another reason why I kind of decided to do Flitty Chronicles, too, so that people could get in tune with who I really am and my intellect. You know what I'm saying? So they could really get a glimpse of who Flitty really, really is deep down inside. Because y'all just hear the bars. Y'all hear the sassiness. You know what I'm saying? You hear me popping and stuff like that or whatever. But you ain't heard me. You know what I'm saying? Because there's somebody behind that artistry. You know what I'm saying? That's way deeper than what you're hearing. So I think that's one of the reasons, too, Flitty Chronicles came out. But yeah, I think that's always a misconception. A lot of girls always walk up to me and be like, yo, you cool as a breeze. Like, you cooler than a glass of water. I didn't think you was this cool. I'm like, why? Why not? Why you think I was mean?
Because
I'm like the nicest person on earth.
a lot of times it's, you know, how they are and they, you know, project themselves on the other people.
Facts. Say
another
that again for the people in the back.
Another question I had. So I read an interview. I don't remember the name of it, right? So in the interview, they were talking about, you know, you as a female artist and some of the, you know, tribulations you have to deal with when you're, you know, a particular female artist with certain attributes and assets, right? And so, you know, you
Assets? Okay.
you basically, you said that you had to, you know, be cautious and that you had to, you know, be careful. So, and that's understandable. You know, I deal with a lot of, you know, young ladies who have to be cautious and careful for whatever reason. So, but I was curious though, like, you know, why somebody who would be cautious and careful, why you would accept the invitation, even though I'm thankful that you did.
Okay.
And most people do, but most people aren't as vocal about how they have to maneuver. So I thought that, you know, it was interesting. You know, and that was a personal question I had. I was curious.
Okay, no problem. I can answer that for you. Honestly, it's just from dealing with unprofessionalism. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people will hit you up and act like they're trying to work, but they really have ulterior motives, and that's really just the basis of it. To be honest with you, that's why I don't just go to anybody's studio. They be like, "Oh, I want to do a track," blah, blah, blah. Send it to me. That's how I know you're serious. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Send it to me, because if you really had me in mind for something, then you've already worked on that something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And you were like, yo, I hear Mosca on this. Let me send it to her.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, don't approach me unless you for real.
Right.
And there's a lot of people out here that are not for real.
Right.
And that's really why I'm cautious. I ain't got time to waste.
No, understandably so. I mean, don't want to waste or put yourself in
a bad situation.
In a bad situation.
Absolutely.
I won't lie.
That's number one.
Right. I won't lie. I was actually relieved you brought your people with you because when Noinek was here and she was saying she was leaving, I was like, you know, I told her you would be here, and now she's gonna get here, and it's just two dudes. You know, like I don't know how she's, you know, how that's gonna, you know, I don't know. You know, so
I still would have been cool, you know what I'm saying? I pick up on people's vibes and, you know what I'm saying, their vibes and stuff. So if the energy was wrong or it looked sketchy if I would have pulled up, you know, it didn't look right, I would have pulled out of here.
No, I understand. and then, you know, and she knows, like, you know, every time, especially if it's like a young woman that comes, they're always like, you know, is it supposed to look like townhomes? Mm-hmm. And I'm like, yeah. That's why I was like, yeah, it looks like a townhouse, yes, but this is not.
You can tell it's a business complex.
Yeah, it's not my house. It's not, my homie. Yeah, it's not my homie's house.
Business plaza.
Oh man, so that was very insightful. Millie, did you have anything further you wanted to add? You just here for the ride?
Right.
Yeah, I'm enjoying my buzz, but
I got a nice buzz too. The Cabrico's doing.
This sangria was good. Thank you kindly.
Yeah,
that was his. Yeah. I can't take that credit.
Oh, thank you, Jordan. I appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, you're welcome. I get these a lot. Have you ever had one of these?
Nah.
They come in a black bottle, and it's got these, like, you know, fruits and whatever on it. You know, a lot of people, you know, I mean, I'm a wine drinker, so sangria is my thing.
This is good.
Right, yeah, and it's 14%.
You like me, I be looking at the percentage. I be in the store looking at my wine. I need the highest percent.
Yeah, I gotta get there. I gotta get where I'm going.
Right.
So if we're, you know, if all, you know, hearts, minds.
I got one question.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Can we get some bars?
Oh my God.
I mean, it's only right.
Okay,
you came to interview with us. We gotta get some bars.
Okay. I wasn't gonna put you on the spot.
It's okay.
But,
I always get put on the spot.
Okay.
You got a beat that you want. I mean, I will let you pick the beat. You pick the vibe. All of that.
I don't know. I'm just gonna go acapella.
Oh, that works too.
That works too.
Let me get my brain right. Lyrically, I shot you, murdered off all your itty bitty little monsters. Still got 10 holding off in the holster. Catch my little pretty face posted on the poster. Bitch, mad cause you're not where you supposed to. I'ma make them say, like a no-limit soldier. I'm mastering my P. I thought I told you. Got them all hooked on my coffee like it's Folgers. Don't forget the hazelnut cream on the side. Baby girl a dime and you know she down to ride. These boys are chemtrails and these birds about to die. Listen, I'm just spitting all of the facts. Got a semi-automatic on my lips with some Mac. I'm busting down these bars like a hustler with a pack. With his...
Nah, I see what you.
I like that. I see. Yeah, that was dope. That was
Y'all
dope.
can catch that on the album.
Word.
You got me too hot in here, Jordan. It's too hot to think in this motherfucker right now.
It's a little warm, you know. So I'm not surprised that we're all distracted, right? So, go ahead and tell people where they can stalk your life on the internet.
You can stalk my life at on Instagram. Mainly on Instagram. I want you guys to follow me more than anything. That's Mosca Flux, MoscaFlux, and I also have a website, and that's also moscaflux.com, MoscaFlux, Flux with it.
Right, yeah, and they got you got the shirts up there.
Everything is up there. The Flex with the t-shirts, the I Don't Flex with You t-shirts for the ladies, the tank tops, everything is up there. And the music is up there.
Word.
SoundCloud, YouTube, Twitter, everything is Mosca Flux. I really made it easy for the world.
Right.
So you could just literally Google me. I'm the only Mosca Flux in the whole world.
I did Google, and that's what happened.
That's what happened?
That's what
good.
happened, yeah. Brought me all these relevant links to you. I'm getting there. I moved up off of the second page. You know, if you Google Splash Jordan, I'm getting there.
He said moving off the second page.
Yeah, moved up off. Yeah, some other guy had it. You know,
really?
Yeah, some other people were there. But the more consistent you are, then you know that's that.
Is that what that means?
I think so. You know,
so I'm consistent,
right? Consistent. What do you as you consistently rep a certain brand? You know, those search is are more directed towards you. So, Millie, what about you? Where can they find your life on the web? Where can they stalk you?
Oh no, still boycotting the internet.
Oh, you're still boycotting the internet.
What? How? Why?
Nah, it's just my line.
Oh.
Yeah, he's not really.
He's not really.
Y'all niggas leave me alone online right now.
What? He must have like crazy baby mamas.
Exactly.
Nah. I got one baby moms and she's cool, yo. What up?
Okay.
All right, bet. So, if you're rocking with this episode of the Verdict Podcast, you can stalk my life on the internet, on Instagram and Twitter at House of Splash. You can go to my website, thehouseofsplash.com. You can see all the shows that I host. You can check out my merch as well as updates on my second live show with Sight to See Take 2, Trader Among Us. Hopefully y'all can come through.
Facts.
Make some time for us. But other than that, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get in some AC. So here we're gonna call it quits.
Thank
with
you
this.
so much, Jordan. Appreciate you, Millie, for having me.
All right. No doubt.
Thanks for coming through. Thanks for coming through. Thanks for coming through. Thanks for coming through.